benefits. Okay, so just some more facts. The other thing is in terms of life insurance, we usually get life insurance with the intent of leaving life insurance money for our loved ones, for them to go on with their life and help them financially with their lives. You don't want that, necessarily used up on final arrangements. So the pre-planning option gives you years, to manage that financing, payment plans, and you could, make a plan to make the financial aspects of this much easier to deal with. And of course, just in planning, we plan in life. People are planners, and we plan for all these things. If you see up on the screen here, car insurance as well. We buy car insurance in case we have an accident, retirement, theft insurance in case our house gets robbed. These are things that some of these may happen, but yet we plan for them. Certainly, we all know we're all going to pass at some time. That's a definite. And so why not plan for the inevitable when there's so much better option in so many different ways. And again, this just touches back on the benefits of pre-planning, which we discussed before, and which are many. Two resources that you want to access is you want to have some type of planning guide for your end of life, and in there would include all the information, financial information, military history, military insurance, financial, end of life, funeral wishes, end of life arrangements that you've made. This planning guide, it's kind of like one place where you can have all this information that when you pass, it's easy for your loved one, who you want contacted when you pass, all in this one personal planning organizer to help your loved ones left behind, left your wife, your husband, to navigate at that time and have a one-stop place where all the information is that they're going to have to access very quickly. And the living will kit. And our personal planning guides, they can come in, for couples, for singles, Spanish language. So you want to be able to access those. And a living will kit. And this is not legal documents in that sense, but it's informational. Most of these documents you want to put together with an attorney, but this kind of walks you through the process of understanding what documentation, what legal documents you want to have in place for end of life and for healthcare proxies, things of that nature. And this living will kit talks you through all that, so you can again put those things together now with an attorney and have a good idea of what you need to do. Both of these, the living will kit, the personal planning guide, we have them here and they're available to you. I think if Melinda, if you could put my email maybe into where they can, where anyone could access it, where everyone can access it, you can.
Sure.
Go ahead, Melinda.
I just wanted to interrupt you a moment, if I could, with
Sure.
2 questions.
Oh, sure. Yeah, questions. Absolutely.
Thank you. One question is, can you pay for cremation in advance?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The other question, which I'm not sure about your ability to answer, but can you address what to do when a deceased family member had expressed a desire to be buried in their home country, a U.S. territory? How does the transportation of the body and receipt in the home country work?
Right. So you would, in that case, you would work with 2 funeral homes, funeral directors. You'd work with a funeral director here, and then you would work with a funeral director wherever the home country is, and they would facilitate that transportation and that move between the 2.
Thank you. That was it for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, like they always say, there are no silly questions or no wrong questions or no. So if anyone has any other questions, certainly, you know, feel free and ask away. But yeah, so that email, Melinda will put that email where you can all access it, and if you'd like to access either these books that we have, any of these guides we have, the Living Will Kit or the Personal Planning Guide, we can certainly make arrangements to get those to you. You know, just shoot me an email. And like I said, if anyone has any other questions at this point, certainly love to field any questions you have.
I do see a question that just came in, which
Okay.
How much do you save by doing the cremation option? Is there any general like rules of thumb?
Well, just in general, in terms of the cremation and in terms of a full casket burial between across the board with the funeral home services, final resting place, and again, all these things vary so much, and you know, that's one of the reasons why you want to begin this pre-planning in advance and now, and because it is a bit of a journey and there's a lot of different information to weigh and to look at. But you know, probably, you know, just in a real general, probably 20-30% of what a full casket arrangements would run with cremation, but can also be as much depending on the final resting place you choose and the services you choose, and both within the services of the funeral home and the final resting places, the costs of all different things vary so much, so widespread, so dramatically in terms of cost, that, you know, those are the things you want to find out about.
And then in general, is a mausoleum going to be more expensive than an in-ground burial if you do one of those shared mausoleum?
Community mausoleums. And interestingly so, it's one of the things people often, when they begin pre-planning and we introduce the option of above ground and we introduce the cost, they see the cost can be very comparable. They're very surprised, because that's most people's original thought is that, oh, it's much more expensive, but no, not necessarily so.
Could you please explain a little about the cremation provider? If one pre-plans, wouldn't the funeral home know one?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so with cremation, the funeral home and a licensed funeral director will coordinate the actual cremation. They'll do all the transportation, file all the paperwork with the state, etc. And as a certified cremation provider, that whole process is audited to make sure that everything happens accordingly. So that'll happen. You'll make those arrangements for the cremation with a funeral home, at a funeral home with a licensed funeral director. Then when the cremation is completed, the arrangements will have been made with the cemetery for a final resting place for the cremation, whether it be niche or in ground. And like I said, there are a lot of different options in terms of the final resting place for the cremation. So you have the funeral director in the funeral home for the cremation itself, and then a final resting place at the cemetery.
Thank you.
Yes. And yes, and all those things can be paid for in advance.
Well, then I guess we're at the end of our webinar. We'll give people time back in our hour. And I guess if, oh wait, here's something that just came in.
Okay. Melinda, were you able to put in that my email somewhere for them to
Bruce
access?
just
Okay,
did
great.
it.
Bruce did it? Okay, great, thanks.
And we have another question.
Okay, sure.
Can the pre-plan be beneficiary of a life insurance policy?
No. In the pre-planning, because a life insurance policy only gets paid out at time of death. So when people choose to use a life insurance policy to pay for end-of-life arrangements, again, that's one of those things that happens all within those 2-3 days. And that's just one more layer of the things to work through, of logistics to work through, and work with the insurance company to get those funds available. And it's very stressful. And again, most people, I think, with life insurance have intended that life insurance to go to their loved ones to go forward with their lives with. So, but no, it can't. Insurance can't be used in a pre-planning, because those funds are only issued at the time of death.
Melinda, do you see any other questions?
I don't see any other questions.
Okay, well, I want to just thank William for your time and all this really terrific information, and Melinda for taking the time to lead the discussion. And then what I'm going to do, just as a final step, is we'll two things. One, our next event is at Ridge Road Park in Hartsdale on September 30th. We're having a actual Senior Law Day live event outside versus at the county center. And there will have different talks on wills versus trusts, elder law, advocacy. And then we will also have an opportunity for one-on-one consultations. So if you want to sign up in advance, you can call 914-813-6300, and we can secure a free lunch for you. But it'll be great to be back in person. Hopefully, the outside venue, of course, is much safer than being inside right now at the county center. So with that, I'm just going to thank everyone again, and then just launch a quick poll where you can give us feedback.
No, thank you, William.
Thank
This
you,
was
everyone.
really
Thank you for your
excellent.
time, and have a great day, and hope to see you in 2 weeks.